And we're here with a very special guest. What can I say about this guy right here? He had a tremendous season at Chaminade University, all Pac West, third team, third in assists per game. That actually led the conference in assist to turnover ratio with 2.0, and has definitely got the numbers. It's definitely been put in a lot of work and put in a lot of consistency. We're here with Ross Reeves. And I got to ask you, brother, how are you doing? What's been going on these days? You know, big news with you entering the NCAA Transfer Portal.
Yeah, man, it's been good. Like you said, it was a really good year, fun year, and my wife and I felt like it was smart to see the options we could get. And so, about the last week or so, just trying to figure that out, man. It's been a process, but that's been the number one priority as of late.
Yeah, we're kind of talking about it a little bit before we got on here. You said over 40 schools have been contacting you, right?
Yes, sir. Yeah.
Talk about just what the process has been like for you in the transfer portal.
Yeah, so it's been really new because at a high school, I only had one offer, which was a JUCO in Utah, Snow College. And then out of Snow, I was talking to different schools, but my only real offer was Chaminade. And I just was grateful for the opportunities at both those schools. And I came here. I've always wanted to play in Hawaii, so I was like, yeah, let's do it. Like, how can you say no to that? And then I've been here for 3 years, redshirted 1, played 2, and then I entered the portal and not even knowing what to expect. Like, I was like, it was a good year, it was fun, but also I've never really been recruited. So I was like, I didn't have like I had hopes, but also like I didn't put too much pressure on it, if that made sense. I was like, whatever happens, happens. I'll just trust God's plan. And luckily for me, the first day my phone just started buzzing, and I'm about 45 schools into it now, and every day we're just trying to narrow the list down a little bit and hopefully know where we're going by the end of the month. But we're still just leading to that process.
Yeah, you talk about the process. Just what kind of led you to wanting to transfer? Was it just the team? Was it just I mean, it could be a combination of things. I may not know what it is, but I'm
Right.
just too bad in here. But just what kind of led you to entering the transfer portal?
Yeah, so it was honestly kind of two things. The first one being I'm graduating this semester with 2 years of eligibility. I don't get my FAFSA anymore. And so I was using my FAFSA for housing here at Chaminade. As we know, Hawaii is pretty expensive. But with me losing that, I'd be paying quite a bit out of pocket. And so I was like, okay, felt like I could get a place where they could provide a full ride, which Chaminade had been the past 2 years, but now I'm graduating. It's hard for them. And then two, I felt like I could play at a higher level. Um, and so I just felt like I wanted to see what I could do, see the opportunities I could have. But needless to say, I just want to say I loved my time here at Chaminade. There was no bad blood. There was no I'm leaving because of this. It was like I told the coaches like I've loved it here. But just putting my family first and putting just the opportunity that I think we could have, I got to see what options we have.
For sure. And just with the accolades that I listed, just what it's meant for you being a part of the Pac West Conference and to be able to do what you've done this year.
Yeah, man, it was special. I had a fun freshman year last year. And I remember sitting down with Coach Bavard and Coach Dantley and saying, "Man, I want to be all conference. I feel like I could." So I just can say I put the work in. With his 2 workouts a day, with just had a goal to do that, and the stats worked out. And so seeing my name on that list was pretty cool. I Just something you've been hoping for 2 years, so to finally see it happen, you're like, okay. And then it's also motivating. You're like, all right, I got third team, but feel like I'm better than a third team all Pac West player. And so it's been fun getting back in the gym and incorporating what I need to work on for next year. And I'm already excited to start playing next year.
When we talk about, your level of, sustainability, being able to play, what are some of the goals that you want to be able to accomplish once you're at a different school? And what do you feel that you can bring to the table?
Yeah. So the goal I'm looking for is I'm looking to win a championship, and not even like if I go the like I'll be honest, I've had a lot of D1 interest. I've had a lot of D2 interest in some of the teams that are top 10 in the country. And I just want to win a championship. So if I'm going the D2 route, the coaches are big on let's go win a natty, let's go win a national championship, and if I go D1, let's go win the conference and go make a run in March Madness. Um, And I feel like I can bring cable a couple of different things. The first thing the coaches are going to get is someone who's coachable. I know I got a lot of work. I got a lot to improve on, and so I know that. And I don't think I'm too good to have things to improve on. I know there's plenty of things I can make a list, but we're also going to get someone who's going to get coached and then work on those things. And as I've been able to do that throughout my years, learn what coaches have told me, I'm someone who can score, but I'm also someone who loves to get my teammates wide open shots and get my teammates going, get them incorporated in the game. So they're going to get a team player that's looking to win if they offer me.
You played 44 minutes against Dominican back on January 15th, and you scored a career high 32 points against Fresno Pacific. Just talk about just what that meant for you in both of those categories.
Man, both those games were a blast. So Dominican was here at Chaminade. The gym was kind of rocking. And then Fresno was a really fun one this year. If you look at the Chaminade statistics, we lost so many close games. Like I want to say we had 11 games decided by 3 or fewer points, and we lost 8 of them. And one of those wins was against Fresno because we were up most of the game. It was like kind of back and forth, like a 5 point game. And I had like I think I only had like 9 points at halftime, and I just came out in the second half, and we just kept running pick and roll plays, which I love. I got the ball in the right wing, left wing, attacked the middle, and I was able to get the basket. So ended that game with I think you said 32 and some free throws in there too. So it was a good all around game. It's fun because usually when you have like a 30 point game, it's like you hit a ton of threes. Or, you know what I mean? You got the 5 or 6 threes. But that game was fun for me because I think I only had like 2 threes. And so I was able to get the basket, get the free throw line. So it was good all around game. Yeah. So that 44, man, that's a day where you need to sleep in the next day. Cause I remember I didn't get subbed out the first half. And the second half came around and coach was like, hey, we're gonna give you a little more rest early on in the second half. I was like, okay, like whatever. But I did tell him, I was like, coach, I'm good. I'll take this halftime as my rest and then I'll be good. And they pulled me out like I think at like the 17-minute mark for about 33 seconds. I got a drink and then went back in, and the game went into overtime. So got played the whole overtime, and I mean it's fun. Honestly, you just work all summer so that you can do that. Like it's like that's the dream. You know what I mean? Like to play at the college level and have your coach trust you and just be able to play the whole game. Like I felt like it didn't feel like super exhausting until after the game. I kind of sit down. I'm like, wow, that was tired. But during the game, you're just building up the energy and the momentum. So it was great. I loved every 44 minutes I was in there.
Yeah, now you mentioned just Chaminade being the only school that gave you an offer. Just what you're gonna remember the most about your
Yeah,
experience in Hawaii and at Chaminade University.
man, that's a loaded question for me. I could get emotional talking about that. So my dad and my brother played ball here on the island over at BYUH on the North Shore. And so most kids, when they were D1 or when they were like 8 years old, like, oh, I gotta go D1. But for me, it was like, man, I want to follow my dad and brother. Like those are my role models. I wanted to be like them. And so when Chaminade gave me that offer, I thought about it for about 12 hours. Called my wife at the time, who's wife now, fiance at the time, is like, yo, what if we got married and moved to Hawaii? She's like, let's do it. And so first of all, I just want to say I really appreciate Coach Purveyor and Coach Kyle, Coach Dan, who gave me that real first offer. I mean, I had the JUCO one, but this is my real 4 year offer. And when you get one, man, it just feels like, okay, I can do this. Like I can. But and so when they gave me that really set me off. And I remember Coach Barrett sitting me down in the first meeting and being like, hey, you're going to help us, which is also cool to hear because it's like I haven't heard that from a lot of people. So, man, I owe a lot to Chaminade, and I'm going to continue to hope for their success and continue to watch the box scores and everything. I love these guys over here.
For sure. Now, going back on just your life and your career, you're from Utah,
Yeah.
obviously, from Orem, Utah. What is the lifestyle being in Utah? And when you were in high school and even just growing up, when did you realize you wanted to pursue a career in basketball?
Honestly, young. My brother's 10 years older than me, so as early as I remember going to his games, dribbling on the sideline at halftime. You're gonna shoot. Time is you're gonna shoot. And then also, I grew up in the Lone Peak boundaries, Lone Peak High School, who won a national championship. I want to say like 2014, 15, and they just taught us at the age of 8, like, yo, if you want to be good, you got to put the work in. So I remember being in third grade and me and my cousin going to the church gym to shoot at 5:30 in the morning. In third grade, like riding our bikes there, our parents would drive us. I remember at that age, I was like, dude, I want to do this. My dad did it. My only brother did it. I have a sister as well, but my only brother who played basketball did it. Um, So as far as I remember telling my dad, like, dude, I want to do this. That's all I've known is wanting to play college basketball. So it's been a dream come true for me since as long as I can remember.
Now talk about just Snow College. I mean, obviously that was a
Hmm.
pick, Chaminade. Just what did that college meant to you as far as before coming out to Hawaii?
Yeah, I loved every minute in Snow College. Not only did I meet my wife there, which is the most important thing, I had a great basketball experience there. When the coach offered me, actually, I remember I was on a hike, get a call from Coach Nelson, the head coach. I'm like, Ross, we have a walk-on spot for you. I was like, thank you so much. I'll take it. And I remember telling him, like, Coach, all I need is an opportunity. I think if I come in, I'll give you good minutes and help the team out. And he's like, okay, let's do it, which is really cool because a lot of times when coaches recruit walk-ons, no matter how good they do, they're still the walk-on, you know? So for Coach Nelson to just look at the skill I had and to say, hey, he's going to help the team, like it was awesome. Leaving there was also hard. You just build those connections. It's in a small town, so all we knew was our team. So we'd be at basketball, then we go to dinner together, then we go hang out, then we'd sleep, and then we go get breakfast together. So I had a great time over there in Ephraim, Utah. I loved it, loved it over there.
Now you were growing up, were there any other career goals that you had wanted to pursue? I know that basketball is your main thing right now, but what was your life growing up? And when did you want to pursue basketball? And was there any other career goals?
Honestly, not really. My dad was an All-American in college, and then my brother, who's 10 years older than me, playing basketball is like by the age of 3, my brother was 13, so he was always having games. Like it's all I know in the sports world. Like of course I tried the soccer, I tried the baseball, but good heavens, I was horrible at both of those things. So the parents kind of like, hey, basketball might be the move. So it's always been basketball for me as wanting to do it for a career.
Now, if basketball wasn't your career, what do you think your career would have been? And who are some of your basketball inspirations?
That's a good question. What would I do? Like what I want to say football. Like I wish I had the swagger and the strength for football, but I think that'd be long days for me. I'm not strong enough for football, but maybe football, maybe some baseball. I don't know. I played all the sports with friends. The basketball inspirations for me was my dad. Obviously, I remember just playing him 1-on-1 as a kid, hearing all the accolades he got. You're like, okay, I want that as well. But then in the NBA world, I love Devin Booker. So I study his game a lot. Just the way he can create a shot and the way his pull up jumper. I definitely watched a lot of his film.
It's nice. With your success in basketball, what's been the key to your success?
Man, I'm a hard worker. Kind of like what I said at the beginning is I'll say it's two things. I'm a hard worker on the court, and then I'm also pretty mentally strong. My mom told me one time that whenever I have thoughts of fear or doubt, like I just don't even give those a second thought. Like I'll literally say if I have like a doubt of fear, like what if this doesn't go as planned? I'll be like I don't even want to think about that again. I'll say that out loud, and when I say that, it shows myself like I don't want to even go into that fear. So it helps me develop play with confidence. Like even if I've missed 5 or 6 in a row, 4, 5, 6, like I know it doesn't affect my next shot because I don't go into fear. So I would say I work hard and mentally strong. Like I know I got to be in the present, and when I do that, it usually works out
So you would basically say hard work and determination is what has been the key to your success.
for sure, for sure.
Being that you're from Utah, of course, is there a specific place that you like there that you have to take somewhere to?
Like a place to eat.
Yeah, or anything.
Yeah, any place. Okay, so if you're in Orem, Utah, where I'm from, the place you gotta go is Don Joaquin's. It's this little Mexican spot, and oh my gosh, it's good. Me and my wife Courtney, we go there every time we go back home. We gotta stop there. And then this is cliche, but I love In-N-Out. Gotta get my In-N-Out burger every time we go to Utah. They don't have that here, which is unfortunate. So every time I go to Cali for road trips or go home, I get that, but it's like I kind of stick with those two. Stick with my Raising Canes, and then for entertainment and stuff, for having fun, just kind of hang out with the friends, just come over, ping pong it up or whatever, swimming. So just kind of switch it up with that. But we just love to eat good food and just chill. So that's the move over in Utah.
Now, being that you were in the Pac West Conference, I gotta ask you, did you have a favorite opponent that you enjoyed playing?
It's a good question. There's a couple. I'll give you two. The first is you love playing against Point Loma, right? They've just been really good for a long time, so it's always fun playing against the best. And then the second this year was Biola. I have a couple of buddies on Biola actually. I just Nate Medina and Daniel Esparza. Those two dudes are hoopers. Probably one of the best, if not the best, backcourt in the Pac West this year. So I just love playing against them. Probably Point Loma if I had to pick one. I also got to throw in HPU, right? Like the crosstown rivalry. So probably HPU and then the other two.
Yeah, talk about the crosstown rival. I mean, it always seems to be like those games not only just brought on a lot of people, but just the excitement and just the atmosphere. Can you talk about that?
So I mean every basketball player every athlete loves to play in front of fans. And that game has fans. It's packed. And I remember my redshirt year, I went up to grab something in the locker room during warmups, and I just remember seeing this line down the stair. I couldn't even see it. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't wait to play and play in front of them. And this year was a blast, right? You couldn't have asked for closer games. We won the first game by 3 at Chaminade, and then we went over to HPU and lost by I think 4 or 5, but both just battles and packed stands, and so you're building up the momentum. It's a great game.
Now, knowing that you've been having a lot of success in your career, you've been playing basketball for quite some time. Is there anything that you wish you would have known when you first started out in your career?
That is a great question. I can say a few things for that. I think the one thing that I would say is just that it's going to work out. Like if I could talk to myself and to the senior in high school, Ross Reeves, I would just tell him it's going to work out. Like I think a lot of athletes, it's easy to stress about like, oh, like what should I do with this? Where should I go? All that. And even in this transfer process, I have to remember that because I'm telling a lot of my close friends and family, like, dude, it's pretty stressful. Like there's a lot of great opportunities and you want to make the right one. And I just gotta remember what I think I would tell my old self, like I tell my present self, like, you're gonna be okay. Basketball is a game, and that's also all it is. It's a game that I love a lot, but it's not going to be the end of the world if it doesn't work out the way I want. Luckily, it's been working out, and so I'm going to keep riding with it. But I just got to keep positive and stay in the moment, and it'll work out.
Now, I know you haven't picked a college yet that you're going to be going to
Mhm.
just yet, but do you think it matters to you about location? Do you want to be closer to Utah, or you're just kind of like
Right.
whatever is the opportunity is the opportunity? Like, what are you kind of looking for as far as
Yeah.
next step?
Yeah. So whenever people have asked me that, coaches or whoever it is, I've told them my wife and I, Courtney, are open to anything because we both lived in Utah for, she's lived here there her whole life. I lived in Vegas for 2 years, but besides that, I was in Utah the whole time. And so we're okay to not be in Utah. Like it's been fun to kind of start our marriage on our own. So we're open to that. But also when we do talk to Utah schools, which we have talked to a couple of them, we're also open to that. Like I don't have a design destination. I'm a believer that wherever we go, we're going to make the best out of it. So I don't have a specific location. I think my wife is more on the location part. I'm more on I want to play basketball I want to play basketball, so it's going to be great. So when schools reach out, she's definitely looking at the location, seeing how nice the weather is there and stuff. And I'm just looking at the basketball program. And hopefully we can meet in the perfect middle and find a good spot there.
Okay, so maybe she might know where you might be going to next, huh?
Yeah, 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 yeah. If you want to know where I'm going, text Courtney. She'll know.
Here's a question that I want to ask you, and I want to get your perspective about this. D2 athletes, obviously, D2, I would say, is more of like, underrated, but it's very competitive because you have a lot of guys that are in the D2 that want to, show their skills and show that they can
Yeah.
make it in the basketball world. Just talk about some of the recent D2 transfers that have gone to D2 and now are in D1 that are just accelerating, and just what kind of like the D2 process does for a lot of these athletes.
Yeah, that's a great question. The first person you got to look at is two people that comes to mind when you ask about the D2 success of the D1 is Hayden Gray and Aniwa Tait-Jones, who both played in the Pac West last year. This conference, Chaminade's in, and Aniwa won Newcomer of the Year. I just saw today. And Hayden Gray played 30 plus minutes. Like both of them had great years. That's my thing is I think why I feel comfortable in this process and what I've told coaches as I've talked to is like as I've played in the Maui Invitational against Kansas, Syracuse, played at Ohio State, played at Syracuse, played at Cincinnati, played at Louisville. I honestly believe the skill level isn't that different. What it is they just got 4 7-footers waiting at the rim. You know what I mean? Like they're subbing in 7-footers. So I would say it's the height, but some D1s say that is like we look for D2 players if they're a good D2 player and stuff. So I don't think it's a huge jump, honestly. I don't know if it's a huge jump. I mean, obviously, if you're going to the Dukes, the top 10 teams, top 15, 25 teams, there's going to be a jump. But those mid majors to low majors, the D1 to D2, I don't see a huge jump. I've seen a lot of D2 players go and be successful in the D1 realm, and I've personally asked them like, hey, like, is it a big jump? They're like, dude, it's not. Like, obviously, they're more athletic and taller here, but skill wise, it's not. Like, I just noticed they're taller than us. The skill wise, it didn't feel crazy at all. Like the all conference players, those are all dudes that could be successful in the D1 though. And the reason why that is because they're going against other top D2 players. Like a lot of there's always 2 or 3 teams in the top 25 in the Pac West, right? Chaminade's had a history of it. Point Loma, Azusa, Academy of Art's been amazing the past 3 or 4 years. So I think that's why when they jump, it's not a difference because they've already gone against that competition.
Now, as far as just your outlook on just your career and what you have plans for the future. Now, I know you want to do orthopedics and become a salesman. Talk about that and how you develop like an interest in that.
Mm-hmm. So I'm older. I'm a 24-year-old sophomore this year. Went on 2-year mission for my church right out of high school. And then I played during COVID. So I got that year back. And then I came here redshirted. And then so just the past 2 years, only 2 that have counted. So by the time I'm done, I'll be about 26. I'm wanting to get my MBA, get my master's degree. And then after that, I just kind of realized like, man, like I'm married. I want to start a family eventually sometime. And um, I think there comes a time where it's time to move on from the game you love and but just make money for the family. So I know quite a few people who are in the sales world, whether it's my brother, whether it's just mentors I've had in my life, and kind of have the outgoing personality where I'm okay to talk to a random person and just I don't know, just sell what the product that the company that I work for has. And so that's the plan for now. Obviously, I still got about 2 years till I graduate, but I just kind of got into the sales world. I've had a little bit of experience because of the people I know. It just seems like I'm around a lot of salesmen, and I tried it a little bit while I saw an insurance and stuff, and I've loved it. So I'm excited for that phase of my life.
Do you see pro basketball as well in your dreams and aspirations?
Definitely going to keep that option open. I think if I have a great 2 years, if it keeps going the way I want, then it's hard to turn down a good contract. But if I get a contract, if I don't get contracts I love, I'll know it's time to move on, kind of thing.
If there was a specific spot that you want to play pro basketball in or a league, what would it be?
Yes, that's a great question. I think I would love like the England. I think England would be sweet. I think obviously like Germany, that'd be great. But those are probably my top two. France, I mean, you got to throw that in there too. But honestly, I think if I'm getting paid good, well, I'll be okay with this situation. But if I could pick the 3 locations, it'd be those three: England, France, and Germany.
NBA potentially?
I mean, that best case scenario, right?
If there was a player in the league right now that you want to play alongside, of course, Devin Booker is one of your favorite players, but is there anybody else that you would love to play alongside?
There's a lot of people. Think about that one. I think the first person that came to my mind was Chris Paul. I know he's coming towards the end of his career, but he's had an amazing career, and he's really great at dishing the ball out and getting his guys open shots, and that's a future Hall of Famer. So it's hard not to pick him. Steph Curry, the cliche classic answer, but those will both be once in a lifetime opportunities for sure.
I'm definitely wishing you all the best in your career and hope all goes well with you, man.
Appreciate you, Justin. Thanks for having me on today, man.